My name is David Rees. I'm Head of Research and Consulting at Jones Lang LaSalle in Australia. I'm here to tell you about the Jones Lang LaSalle Global Real Estate Transparency Index, which is a document which is produced on a regular basis and has been produced since 1999, which provides an assessment on the transparency of real estate markets globally. According to the current document, Australia ranks #1 globally as the most transparent real estate market in the world. This is a change from the previous exercise where Australia ranked #2. The current ranking shows that Australia has in fact pushed Canada into second spot. #3 is the UK, and the United States ranks #6 according to the current ranking. There are probably two important key trends which have emerged from the current index. The first one is that over a period of years we've seen a steady improvement in terms of transparency across most global markets. But what we found this time is that the rate of improvement has slowed down, probably the result of the global financial crisis. The second important trend is we've had a close look at debt markets. Transparency across debt markets in many countries is a lot less clear than it is in the case of equity markets, which traditionally have been a lot more transparent. I think one of the key implications is that in the next few years we're going to see increased focus on market regulation to improve transparency. That's partly because the regulators themselves, the financial authorities and governments, are increasingly aware of the importance of being able to understand what's actually happening in markets. But it's also the case that investors themselves are demanding increasing levels of transparency prior to making decisions. Transparency, of course, involves a lot more than simply market regulation. One of the findings from this exercise is the importance of transparency across all aspects of real estate. Market performance measurement, data availability, transactions, and going forward I think we'll see an increased focus on all these aspects of transparency. Of course, it's important to realize that high levels of transparency don't necessarily translate into low levels of volatility. In fact, it could be argued that markets such as the United States, which are very transparent, have also experienced the most volatility over the last few years. Nevertheless, I think one can reasonably expect going forward that those markets which are among the most transparent are probably going to be among the first to recover. And we see some of that happening in Australia. Backed up by a strong economy, we're seeing a strong revival of investor interest, particularly from offshore investors, because they understand the importance of transparency, and they tend to rate Australia very highly on those criteria. The Transparency Index, which has just been published, probably sets the scene for the next couple of years. Offshore investors are very interested in Australia. For many of those investors, Australia represents an entry point into Asia, with the added advantage that apart from exposure to the high growth economies of Asia, Australia is also the most transparent real estate market in the world. For a complete overview of this document, I'd encourage you to look at the final report, which is available on our website.